Hey boys, welcome back to some more Fantasy League, Super Coach, whatever you want to call it. And so this is gonna be the updated team for round one. And as you will notice, the team is a lot different. It's a lot different. Still some of the guys I'd already picked, but yeah, it's a fair bit different. I'll run through it in a second here, but yeah, I made some changes. Like, I had heaps of money left over. There was always going to be like a lot of changes. I was going to see, who was actually starting, who was playing, and I think I've got a pretty good side. You can see it's got it up here, projected 966. I wouldn't buy too much into that just because players can form a lot better, a lot worse than last year, and also guys like Idris, he didn't play at all last year, so they just give him like a 39. And anyone else? I don't think I've got any. Oh yeah, I've also got Sargison who didn't play last year, so I got a couple of guys who didn't play, so you can't really, I wouldn't worry about that too much. But we'll go through the side. Here, and I know a couple of people were saying that my team was not necessarily bad, but or maybe they were just being a bit kinder when I first made it, and it was a bit of a draft, just going through, just seeing how much players were and that sort of thing. But I thought that was still a pretty solid team, but I've definitely made some good upgrades here. So we'll start off with this one, Robbie Farah. It's a big change. Obviously I had McCulloch there, and I don't know. I'm still actually on the fence about switching back to McCulloch. I'm making this Wednesday night, so I've got a little bit of time to think. But I think Farah will go pretty good at the Rabbitohs. It's just the fact that Damien Cook is on the bench. Obviously, he'll get subbed off, but it's a tough one. There's a couple other dummy half choices for about the same price range I might think about, but I might stick with Farah. I'll see how it goes. Jaden, I think it's Jaden, but Brayley on the bench here, not actually a reserve, but on the bench. He's going to be starting for the Sharks, so he's definitely a must have. He's going to be the starting dummy half. It's only going to be, I think, New Brown off the bench who'll replace him, but his value is going to go up a lot. We'll see how many points he gets. It won't really matter, but it's good to have. And then the front rows, we got Jake Trbojevic and Josh Maguire. I got Jake Trbojevic instead of Ryan James. Now that was just to get a bit more money to upgrade a couple other guys, because Ryan James, he averaged like really good last year, and his price was like, I think it was like 60,000 more than Trbojevic. Trbojevic is incredible as well, and I think this year he'll be as good, if not better. He's more experienced. I'm pretty confident of Trbojevic, scoring as well as James, and being a fair bit cheaper. I thought, we can get a couple of the better players, maybe sacrifice a couple of points. It won't really matter. Josh Maguire, I think that's still a solid pick. Happy with that. And then we have James Graham, who I picked up as one of my reserves, so that's pretty solid. He was actually pretty cheap as well for averaging like 60, 67, I think it was, so pretty good pickup. And then this Yates guy, he's actually going to be playing for the Knights, so again, I got heaps of, a lot of the guys like 120k, like the real cheap ones, I got guys that are actually going to be playing or even starting, so their value could increase pretty well. And then the back row, I think it's a pretty strong back row. We got Sam Burgess, Tyson Frizzell, Jack DeBellin, and all really, really good. Frizzell's probably the weakest one there, but I sort of feel like this year is probably, it's going to be his year. Like, at the end of last year, he played some Origin games, he played International, he looked really, really good. I think this year he could go to another level in terms of club footy. Hopefully he'll score a lot better. We got DeBellin over, who did I replace? Oh, I got rid of Greenwood, just because he's not going to be starting and he might not even be on the bench for the Titans. So yeah, I obviously couldn't have him in the side, like 260,000. And then we got two reserves here, Sione Matautia, who I was actually really impressed with Matautia in the back row. I think that's his position. He was pretty solid, pretty cheap, average mid 40s. I think he's solid. And then Takarengi here is another fairly solid reserve player. He's one guy I might change. I probably won't though, but he's playing in the centers. He's just a guy that can do a lot of offloads, get a few try assists, hopefully he'll score pretty well. And then Anthony Cherrington, he was one of those 120,000 really cheap guys, but he's got the potential of playing. He might not, but he's a good player. I like him a lot. The halfback, I stuck with Kane Algie. You know, I don't know how he's going to go. He's a really good young player, but we'll see how he goes. He could be one guy that lets us down, but I think he'll be pretty solid with Ash Taylor in the halves. I'm pretty confident. Jamal Fogarty, I might switch him out for someone who actually will play, because Fogarty, I really like Fogarty, but I don't think he's going to be playing for the Eels, so I might just switch him out for a cheap guy that might play, but we'll see who's there. And then we've got Sean Johnson over Connor Watson, and it's funny because someone in the last video commented that Connor Watson would be a good tip, but Luke Keary, and I totally forgot that the Roosters signed Luke Keary. I just assumed Connor Watson was going to be playing 5'8", but yeah, of course Luke Keary's going to the Roosters. Watson's probably on the bench, but yeah, obviously we're going to switch him out. Sean Johnson, I've got him as captain as well. You know, especially they're versing the Knights. You know, the Knights might put up a good show, but I think it's a game that the Warriors could put a lot of points on. Johnson could get a couple of tries maybe and get a lot of points, hopefully. And then we got Jai Field here as a backup. I don't know if he'll play too much, but he was very impressive in the Nines, and I think in the trials he played a couple of games, so he potential star. And then the back line, we've got Tom Trbojevic, Vunivalu, Jamal Idris, and the one change I made is Hoffman out for Sargison. Now, this was a tough one. Like Hoffman, I thought Hoffman would play in the centers, but he's playing on the wing, and Sargison, he's unknown, but he was cheaper than Hoffman, and I thought they're both pretty risky, or not risky, but I thought they both could score fairly low, and I thought, you know, Sargison, he probably has a little bit more potential than Hoffman playing in the centers. He's unknown, you know, he's meant to be an international player, so hopefully he goes pretty well, and he was pretty cheap, so I thought, you know, we'll get a little bit more money to spend on someone else. You know, that's why I would have upgraded like a Johnson or a DeBellin or Graham. You know, got a few more upgrades from, you know, cutting a few costs there. Idris, Vunivalu, Trbojevic, yeah, it's I think it's pretty solid. Probably the back line here is probably the one area I'm a little worried about, but they all have potential. Idris probably the centers here, Idris and Sargison are probably the two guys I'm most worried about, but we'll see. They could go really well. And then the fullback, we got Tuivasa-Sheck, who I think is going to go really good. And the back line, we have Kotrick, Brian Kelly, Kalen Ponga. Now, Ponga's not really certain to start, but Brian Kelly and Kotrick, they're both starting, so I think they're really good pickups. Both as cheap as you can get, 120k. Kelly's going to be replacing Matai in the centers, and I think Kotrick's on the wing for the Raiders, so both guys will probably increase in value, and you know, could actually score really well, so I could, you know, replace them with those guys. But and then my last, obviously 4 reserves there. Last one is Jared Hayne, who didn't score very well last year, but he's playing fullback. He's had a season now. I think he's going to score pretty well. So that's the team. We have $200 remaining in the salary cap. I spent pretty much every penny there, and I think it's a solid team. So this is going to be the obviously the last video before the round start, and then, you know, we'll do like two videos a week, like I said before. One before the rounds, going through the team, going through any changes, and then after the rounds, going through how we went. So I'm excited. I'm keen to see how we go. I've got that super coach, that fantasy league itch again. I'm excited to get back into it. I like the stats. I like looking at stats, and you know, fantasy league's a lot of fun with that. So unfortunately I couldn't let's have a look, see if I can see who we're versing. Does it say who I'm versing? Here's the the league. We got some guys here. I don't think it... Actually, who is this? Is this my team? I think this is my team. Let's see if I can look. Who's this? Benny the Jets. Can we look at his team? Okay, we can't look at his team. I don't think you can look at other people's teams at the moment, which is a little annoying. I would have liked to see who we're up against. I wanted to see who they've got. But that's alright. Let's see. Does it say who we're versing? Who's first cab off the rank here? I don't think it does. We'll go through that obviously with the next one. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. You know, look forward to more coming up. If you're playing in this league, good luck. And if you're not, you know, join us. You know, set up an account, have some fun. It's good fun. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. You know, make sure you like if you didn't. I'll see you guys in the next one.